Okay. Welcome everybody to my YouTube channel. Today we have a guest on our channel, uh, Darren. Darren, tell me something about yourself.
Well, I live in the United States. I've been curious about spirituality for a long time, and I studied different religions, and I always got to a point where they had some limitations. I also realized that there's some problems with the world, and that led me to find out about Mark Passio and natural law. And then
Okay.
I listened to that for a while, and I've also come to a point where I have reached some stumbling blocks, and I think it has to do with the outlook. So that's
Yeah.
basically what we're talking about today, right?
Yeah. Today we are going to cover the difference between Eastern Indian stuff and Western occultism, how people say, and how Western mind is occultism is like a block, not it's not expanding the mind of people, it has become the block. So I would try to explain. We will discuss on this topic. I will put some points forward, and I want you to put some point forward as well. So let's see where we are going to go with this. So Cavalion, uh, what I wanted to discuss today is the very first point, the principle of mentalism. How Western people are seeing this, and what we have in terms of Dhammapad, the twin pairs, uh, the very first pair. So can you read from? I cannot see the screen. Can you read from the screen? If it's
Oh,
there.
you want me to share it?
Yeah, yeah.
Kabbalion or Dhammapad?
Both, like in a web browser if possible.
Sure. Yeah.
Or do one thing, open two tabs side by side.
Yeah, we can do that. And okay. All right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let me open well they are side by side. Is
Yeah,
that good
just pull
enough?
this tab and make it a window.
Separate
Pull
window?
it out and
Yeah.
make it a window. Yeah,
Okay.
and put side by
Side
side.
by side.
If just
Bigger.
reduce it a little bit.
And then the other one, like left, right, pop it out.
Yeah, 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 just like that.
Okay. Okay. We got a little bifocal session going on. All right.
It is frozen for me.
Maybe it'll get better. Let me see.
I can only see Dhammapad. I cannot see Cavalion.
Mm,
You should reduce it a little bit more.
I see. Let me just change my input.
Okay, sure.
I wonder if I can select both. Okay, it's probably my limited tech, but
Okay,
let me see if I
that's
can
okay.
just share my
We
whole
can we can
screen.
do we can read first from
Infinite
this.
regression. All right. Yeah, we can
We
just
can do one thing. Yeah,
yeah.
we can read first point from Dhammapad or Cavalion first, and then we can read the corresponding in other.
Yeah, let me just re-enter that tab. Okay, so we can just switch back and forth.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
figure it
perfect.
out for next time if we need it again.
It's good.
All right. And so the principle of mentalism, did we want to
Yeah,
start with that and then juxtapose?
yeah, sure.
Okay. And this is a Kabbalion
First, I
by
want
three initiates for everyone.
first I want to talk a little bit about the Cavalion, as much as I've understood it from whatever the hell I've been through. So Cavalion, as people talk about Cavalion, it is something that is given by Hermes Trismegistus, right?
Allegedly.
So Trismegistus means thrice great. And if you like people, they usually talk about natural law, and it is considered as somehow natural law in the West. And I'm very, very amazed at how people cannot say it. So Hermes Trismegistus or Thoth from Egypt or Greek. There's two different two version of same person, I believe. So they are talking about hermetic principles and Hermes Trismegistus. This does not sound like narcissism to you, or does it? How can be once great, but somebody is thrice great? So
Yeah, it
is it a
comes
parable? Yeah.
it comes from the Greek, yeah, megistos kai megistos theos megas, so the great and the great God. But also interestingly enough, Thoth Hermes is like a
Mhm.
composite god, a syncretic deity. In other words, to be
Mhm.
frank, made up.
Yeah, because it is a cult of personality. They are feeding something into a personality, but in Buddhism, it is very different. We are not feeding to a deity or God. Dhamma naturally means the natural law, the Dhamma. Even if there's no Buddha and if there's no Sangha, Sangha means company in a way. So there's still Dhamma, and anybody can become Buddha by walking that Dhamma, that path. And what is path? Path means understanding. It is not a laid path that you have forced into. No, it is understanding. Understanding the nature, understanding our nature, internal, outer, external. So it's like that. And people don't understand a lot of things. People make everything about either their ego or the knowledge, something like that, something about themselves, instead of seeing things through how they are, objectively, in a sense, but not so much objective like people are weaponizing these things. So that is also a problem. Weaponizing things that I will read this thing and I will suppress, oppress other people. I will play like a king, but I will not follow any of these things. So this is usually how people abuse these things, and this is exactly why all these things are affecting. Because I cannot see a lot of people, even myself, if I would say I'm not that much of a Buddhist, right? I'm here to just explain these things. I don't say that I'm living this thing 100% and I should start preaching people and charge people money, this and that, as if they have become the hermit or Hermes or whatever people say, Hermes and hermit,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So in these cults, these people they use these things as an accessory for self-aggrandizement, self-adulation. They feed into their false ego, because they are not Hermes, they are not hermetic either. They are losers living there. I don't want to use this negative language, but it is the case with these most of these people. They have deluded themselves and they are confused with all this stuff,
I'll
right?
go even further and say
So
nobody is Hermes Trismegistus because Hermes Trismegistus never was and is never going to be because he's a character. He's a fictional character.
yeah,
And I understand
exactly.
fiction and allegory, but I understand the limitations when you try to superimpose that on reality.
Yeah, that was a well put together story for the people to follow. And I would go even deeper in Cabellion. Actually, what is Cabellion? Cabellion is not natural law. It is a framework built on natural law to suppress and to control people. I would say this much, and to keep people engaged with a certain mindset. Like a lot of people, they are selling their packages for $1,700 or something. I'm talking about Satyakas Boza here. So Satyakas Boza is selling this thing that is freely available on internet for people, but somehow claiming that he's Hermes. So what Boza does is, what these charlatans do is, they pretend, they delude themselves first of all, and they delude the people who follow these people. If there existed a Hermes, let's say for a second, so were these natural laws coming out of his backside, or was he also a part of nature? If
Right.
somebody's,
That's
yeah,
why I
we also,
pulled this up because you're saying part of nature. A circle with a triangle with a box with the circle, that's not a natural image. That's a construct, like you had pointed out.
yeah, that's a framework. That's like, so let me explain that this term of framework. A lot of people might be aware of this by like general English, but in computer science, how we use it. So in computer science, you may have heard about which example should I use? Okay, Android. Okay, Android. People say that Android is a whole stuff operating system right now, but it is a platform that is on Linux. And Linux operating system is also a platform that is on hardware. So in the same way, these principles, quote unquote, they are frameworks on reality for certain outcome. Just in the same way, we have this one platform or framework on hardware, that is Android. On other hardware, Apple hardware, iPhone, we have another framework or a platform. So which one is better, which one is twice greatest, Apple or Android? So people don't have this processing because they are emotionally invested in these things. And when you bring anything that is not as per their emotions, their logic shuts down, and their emotions they come out, and then they start to bash either person or anything that is corresponding to that stuff. So this is exactly what is going on in Western occultism, first of all, because Western occultism is very mad at somehow New Age. They think Indian stuff is New Age, but totally and completely blind toward the fact that Indian stuff is Hinduism or Buddhism. It is not New Age. New Age is a platform that Western people have created using Eastern, mostly Indian stuff, right?
Yeah,
Or some
absolutely.
European witchcraft. They have mixed everything. They are using all these things, and when they want something, like when people were talking about these things, when it was beneficial, so it became Western. Now people are bashing it, so now it became Indian somehow. So people are also like this. They
Yeah.
like to scapegoat. They like to siphon. They like to take good things as their own personality. It is called ego dystronic and synchronic. It is a narcissistic thing. Let me explain this thing as well from psychological point of view. Ego dystronic and ego synchronic. When there's something good, people make it about themselves. When it is something bad, people make it about somebody else and bash it. Yeah.
Right.
So this is a state of this community, quote unquote, spirituality, because all these people are stupid, I would say, in a way, because they're feeding into their false ego. None of these people are Hermes or Buddha or any Shiva or any Vishnu, whatever the hell. But when they hear these concepts, they understand these concepts, they flip, like they don't have a real ego. A real ego is something that tells other person that uh, distinguish one person from other. Atma. Atma means you are Darren and I'm Vivek. Even though we know the same things, even though we accept the same things, we still are individual, different person. This is a healthy thing, healthy thing.
Mhm.
But in these communities of New Age, Western, I'm talking about, or some occult circles, what happens in these? There's a charlatan sitting, and this charlatan is infecting all the followers, and they become a hive mind. So they, yeah,
Yeah,
actually
it's
they
terrible.
actually become
It's
hive mind.
collectivism, and
Yeah,
it's collectivism
yeah,
while claiming individuality. But I mean, it's you're 100% right.
Yeah, they are confusing their false ego. There's a term, this is an actual scientific psychological term called false ego id. It is denoted by id. Id, it is called as id. So these people who want, these wannabes, I would say, who want to be goddesses, all these, they are actually inflating their false ego. They're not goddesses, they're not gods, they're deluded. And they have inflated their false ego, they have forgotten about their real true ego, because their real true ego makes them feel they are inferior. They're not as god, as big as gods. It is not super ego. People talk about this is super ego. No, super ego is something else. It is very different
Right.
from false ego. So this is actually false ego. Satyagata Boza says he's a dragon. Satyagata Boza is a dragon. And when you challenge this person, he would make it about something else. Let's not talk about these fools. Let's focus on this thing. So let's scroll down to first hermetic principle.
So maybe chapter two, and the first one will be mentalism. Chapter two.
I believe so. Yeah,
Oh, one more above. Okay, there we go.
yeah. So can you read it for me, because it
Sure.
is not clear to me the complete thing. Yeah,
Yeah. All right. The Kabbalion, the principle of mentalism. The all is mind, the universe is mental. The Kabbalion. And also, if you want me, whenever you want me to stop, just let me know. The principle. This principle embodies the truth that all is mind. It explains that the all, which is the substantial reality underlying all the outward manifestations and appearances which we know under the terms of the material universe, the phenomena of life, matter, energy, and, in short, all that is apparent to our material senses, is spirit, which in itself is unknowable and undefinable, but which may be considered and thought of as an universal, infinite, living mind. It also
yeah.
explains. That's a good spot
So
to stop.
yeah, so it is contradicting itself. It is saying all is mind, and then it is saying it is unknowable. So if something is unknowable, and we are talking in terms of hardcore science or mathematics or physics, a measure. So these two things logically contradict themselves. So when people are still talking about these things, they're not seeing things through logic. They're not seeing things through evidence. They are seeing things through their egos, false egos. the,
Right.
the thing is in itself is contradicting itself. If anybody knows English, understand these words, they would say the same thing exactly how am I saying. The
Yeah,
universe
it's
is
modus
actually,
tollens.
yeah,
It's the fallacy of modus tollens in propositional logic, denying the consequent. But the reason is
yeah,
they set this up. It's actually multiple. It actually logic doesn't apply. What it does is obfuscation, and it uses the ego of the person to project logic where there is none by referential ideation.
yeah, exactly, because they are so much consumed by these things. They want these things to be true, so that something these people are searching for, looking for. There's a hole in people. When people come to all these things, they are actually lacking something.
I want to make
So
everyone, I want to make it clear, I was fucked up. And I'm still, like, it's a lifelong process. I mean, we're all trying to know truth, and this is not bashing anybody. This is meant to tell people why, because we actually do care. We want you to be
yeah,
happy, I guess, or you know, want you to find peace, and we just want you to know this because we've been there.
yeah, and everybody is fucked up. The process of life is not a smooth road. Everybody gets a little bit fucked up every now and again, and this should be the thing. This is actually the beauty of it, that things are not straightforward. People have to struggle a little bit, and when people struggle, the thing is not the struggle. The thing is what is your attitude toward it. And in today's time, all these conspiracy theorists and all these wannabe occultists, what they're doing is they're using this difficult thing to make their lives easier. And they are claiming to be shamans. Shaman. Do they even understand the meaning of shaman?
No, shamans
They are
make
claiming
people
to be
better,
shamans.
and a shaman is a healer, and I'm not seeing healing being done. I'm seeing
Shaman is
ego.
not actually a shaman is actually a person who goes through difficulty to understand the wisdom, to attain some wisdom. And
Right,
then they used to be, in older time, there used to be people who were like Buddha was a shaman, but he was not the random regular Western shaman. Shaman means somebody who seeks for wisdom, and not wisdom, who seeks for the truth.
right,
And truth, that the process of seeking the truth develops your wisdom, and then that wisdom is used for a community, for a people, to explain those people, to make a community grow and be healthier. In today's time, these wannabe shamans, they are doing opposite. They have inverted all these things. They are using this thing as a narcissistic supply, as an external object, to glorify themselves, to self-aggrandizement, to become this godlike figure, savior, this and that. They forgot the main part of explaining to people, so that people can understand, they can reject as well. Buddha explained all his stuff. He never said that you have to follow it. You are very welcome to reject it as well. So that is real shaman. That is real shamanism. Shamanism is not about some weird dance, this and that. All these things are coming from different cultures. They have involved these things and they have some meaning. But if you are some Westerner, or let's say even Indian, and you have never done any of those things, and you're claiming to be a shaman, doing all these crazy things to confuse people, not to expand their wisdom, understanding. So, what good is it going to be? You are just promoting this thing called capitalism, consumerism. Yeah,
yeah.
that's very against. That is very opposite of any shaman.
Capitalism is
This is
about
all
profit.
accepted.
It means the head. It means like I have this many head of cattle, and this is my resources.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
shamanism, like the search for truth, is
yeah.
not about accumulating anything.
It is about to
Your mic
grow
started to break
yourself.
up. I think it's better.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
maybe
Sorry.
it's internet. Maybe it's internet. Yeah.
Could be.
So shamanism cannot promote this capitalism, and if you want to integrate shamanism while staying capitalism, don't mix these things. Don't make it a profession. Make it a practice. Do it beside aside your whatever the hell you do in terms of capitalism. I'm not saying capitalism is a, I'm not demonizing capitalism as well. I have a lot of capital materialistic stuff. I'm not saying that it is all bad, because this is the truth of the reality of today's time. Capitalism is all right, but if it is practiced properly, it is not practiced properly with the ethics and morality of capitalism is there, but just for show off. It is not in practice.
Just like
Yeah,
this
that's
with
why.
occultism. Same
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Exactly. So everything is not mentalism. This much is enough for a wise person to understand that this thing is contradicting in itself. Can you go ahead and read the
Yeah.
rest of it?
Okay, so it says everything is part of a universal living mind. Okay. It also explains that all the phenomenal world or universe is simply a mental creation of the all, subject to the laws of created things, and that the universe as a whole and in its parts or units has its existence in the mind of the all, in which mind we live and move and have our being. That's a Bible quote. This principle, by establishing the mental nature of the universe, easily explains all of the varied mental and psychic phenomena that occupy such a large portion of the public attention and which, without such explanation, are non understandable and defy scientific treatment. An understanding of this great hermetic principle of mentalism enables the individual to readily grasp the laws of the mental universe and to apply the same to his well being and advancement. The you want to
So,
stop? Yep.
uh, so a lot of people were talking about that this thing is ancient, this thing is very old, and they're talking about science. In older time, religion and science were one thing. There was no clear cut definition, if you would, I wouldn't say distinction, because a lot of priests, saints, these people, they came across scientific phenomena, psychological phenomena, and they made it about spirituality, which is not a very bad thing, because science was not objective back then, it was subjective. They were all talking about their own experiences instead of phenomena. So if this thing is saying that this is science, so this is not ancient, this is not even old, that this is very recent, this is very new. So this is, if anything, people studied other people's background, let's say Hinduism, Buddhism, this and that, and then they extracted a few information from there, and then they created their whole different delusion based, that's what people usually call Kabbalion. So, is there any proof that this thing? And when people ask about the background of Kabbalion, so people would say that nobody knows its origin. People, it is saying that it is coming from Hermes. So this is like I can say a lot of things about Buddhism as well. So Buddha actually understood the Dhamma that made Buddha Dhamma. They are not coming from Buddha. This is clear cut. But in this thing, they're saying it is coming from Kabbalion, who was Trismegistus. First of all, just imagine what is this thing going to do with your ego. If you actually follow this, what is this thing going to do subliminally? What is this thing going to do with your ego?
You're gonna feel
Everybody will think
special.
that they are Hermes. Yeah,
Yeah.
super special, try
Super
special
special.
at least.
Yeah, and even
Yeah,
if you don't think you're Hermes, you are by proxy close to this character because this seems
yeah,
like a secret or advanced philosophy because of the way it's presented. And also, you talk about it establishes the nature by establishing the mental nature of the universe. First of all, it's mental. It's also crazy mental nature of the universe. I mean, now we're taking mind, and then that's where you get the logical inconsistencies. Mind of the all,
mhm,
principle, mental nature of the universe. It quotes the Bible, live and move and have our being, and it's talking about
mhm,
the phenomena of the physical universe.
mhm,
It could get deeper than that, but in my opinion, this is talking about Maya transformations of
yeah,
m- mentalism. I mean, even at scale, physical matter is neither created nor destroyed, right? So all of these
yeah.
transformations, including the sun, including the earth, these are all temporary things. And anything that's
This is
affected by
yeah,
time is not true the absolute truth or the absolute
mhm.
reality. So what this is doing is it's equivocating um, phenomena with reality and mental phenomena, which makes it a delusion.
This is actually hooking you to the Gnosticism. A lot of the stuff you have read, when you were reading, I thought that these things have their corresponding explanation in Hinduism. And Hinduism is also a vast religion right now. Not all Hinduism is same as Brahmanism or Vedanta. No, people are confused. People don't understand what Hinduism truly is. Hinduism has its roots in the region. Indigenous people were actually Hindus of the region people, and everything else that came out, like people discovered, people understood, and even invented a few things. and those things got like written or learned by people who were using these things to run something else.
Yeah, it's
Those
out
people
of
became
context and off
priests.
label.
Yeah, they extracted those things, certain people, and they became priests. They enjoyed using these people, and those people who actually came across these things, those people are nowhere to be found. They were never given any credibility, this and that. They were lost. They are lost, right?
Yep.
So in the same way, in the Western occultism or whatever the hell it is, so it is not very different from that. Everybody was indigenous. First of all, everybody was indigenous. Even they are Serbian, sorry, Siberian indigenous people.
Right.
There are your Nordic indigenous people. Uh, they are very very different distinguish, like they're Scandinavian and they are Nordic and there are all sorts of other, like if you really look into things, uh, even the Vatican people, all this stuff is coming from paganism. Paganism used to be this what you call indigenous people used to practice paganism,
Right.
and later on this thing morphed into something else.
Sure.
So this is how all these things are evolved, and now people are fighting. Like right now, people are advanced and they're fighting with indigenous people, but they are fighting the same thing. They're fighting different levels of evolution. Actually, not we are not even fighting with people anymore. We are fighting with ourselves, our own past. That's why
Right.
people never come to any like common ground, because we are trying to fight our own ghosts.
You're right.
That is the main issue of this world. Yeah,
It's a the by ghost. I mean, we're fighting a mental construct, and people are looking at
construct.
it as this is the way I think it should be, but it's
Yeah,
not that way, and then they're getting angry about it. But the thing is, just like this template, other ideologies, political ideologies, religious ideologies, even strict atheist ideologies are all a template or an operating system, or you could say some kind of
sanskara.
a cage. Really,
Sanskara.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Sanskara is actually the construct
a
in
construct.
Buddhism, in Hinduism. Yeah,
Yep.
the thing that you have conditioned yourselves to believe as the ultimate reality is a sanskara.
It kara is I don't know the etymology, but it sounds like something put together, which literally is construct, right? So you have sung together, samskar.
No,
It may be
it does not.
different.
Indian stuff does not work like this. Mark Pesce talks in those terms, but
Yeah.
sometimes the words cannot be broken down into further sub words.
It probably makes
Sometimes they
sense
can.
within its own with the language itself, though, in the original.
Sanskara, in a way, means there's a culture. So, culture comes from practicing certain things.
Okay. Yeah.
So, the things that you practice on an individual level, one event that you have practiced, so that becomes one sanskara. If you become so deluded that this is the absolute solidified reality and you keep repeating, that becomes sanskara. All the diseases in Buddhism as well as in ancient Hinduism, older Hinduism, it is believed that disease is something we do repetitively.
Well,
So that is
that's
sanskara.
interesting because this text being in the English language, although claiming Greek and Egyptian roots, English is
Mhm,
itself a well, it's evolved from a Pidgin and Creole language, which is
mhm,
English itself is a construct. It did not evolve naturally like other languages. You have Norman
mhm,
French, you have Latin, you have Greek. So these associative
mhm.
properties of English, and with English being the lingua franca of trade and government and United Nations,
Yeah.
actually is the kind of the Trojan horse for assuming that we can just paint everything with a broad brush or that everything can be understood. It's actually egotism in the structure of the language itself.
Actually, it is believed that English is coming from Latin, right?
Latin with Greek words, and it borrows a lot of words, but it doesn't borrow the
Yeah.
context of the origin. So,
It
yeah.
is always, it is also a framework, but people believe,
Yes.
like, for example, we had Sanskrit, and people abandoned Sanskrit when it used to work because people had this belief there are some sounds like Latin, English, it is used in exorcism or something. So these things were so powerful, they would affect people's psyche.
Okay.
So what they did with Hindi, in modern Hindi or English, they watered it down. They made it more neutral like. You're saying
Hmm.
it was used in trades and legality and all stuff. So it became watered down so that it won't hit you so hard. Just imagine if you're talking on those terms. So yeah, just like that. They are like, if you are really motivated by each and every single word, so you would not be able to function. If everything triggers your emotion,
Hmm.
you would not do things objectively. So maybe that might have been the reason for all that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah.
that?
Well, I do know that, like, okay, Latin, German, Russian, they have much more complex grammar.
Hmm.
So, in order to communicate in them, if you have to be precise, and certain things can't be, well, it makes it abundantly clear when things are illogical, and it also requires more intelligence. So, in a way, English in its very thin grammatical framework is easy to use, but at the same time it's ambiguous, and in that ambiguity things are lost, and things can also be obfuscated,
Hmm.
almost intentionally
Yeah.
concealing. That's why if you were to write this a phrase in Latin, it could be very short, and but in English it would take more words. And that's because subject, object, verb, case, direct object, indirect object, those were very clear, which a clear language usually reflects a clear mindset. And a jumbled language usually reflects a lot of competing ideas that maybe are never actually reconciled.
So you're saying that English is not well structured and Latin was well structured, or Latin was more about Latin made more
Latin was,
logical sense than English.
yes, but it's almost possible that Latin was formalized and maybe never spoken in the structure we have it, because it was formalized by scribes. But at the same time, English literature that is, like, if I were to write a scientific theory today, I would use it in the
Hmm.
language of my time. So, in other words, English of today is good for expressing ideas of today, like psychology. It's perfect because these terms were coined by people speaking this language. I think the further you take it back, it doesn't reflect the same zeitgeist of the thoughts, or the culture.
You have very deep understanding on these subjects. So this is we have finished this thing.
Yeah.
Can we go to that Dhammapad?
Hmm.
Read the first words. This thing is also just like that. You have just explained in the terms of language. It is very short, just one point.
The Dhammapada, the Buddha's
Yeah, first
path of wisdom.
words. Yeah, first words.
So the
First
pairs
phrase.
of, okay.
Yeah,
Skip the preface and then go to the
yeah.
first verse. Introduction. No disrespect to the author. And I have to sit down with this because I avoided Buddhism because it didn't affirm my ego. But once I realized the ego, after studying all the other stuff, is actually annoying, I'm kind of ready
Yeah.
to look into this deeper, although I've glossed over it before. Okay. Do you want me to read the first?
Yeah, because it's not clear for me.
Sure. The pairs. This is chapter one. Mind precedes all mental states. Mind is their chief. They are all mind wrought. If with an impure mind a person speaks or acts, suffering follows him like the wheel that follows the foot of the ox.
Yeah. So, do you want me to explain this?
Please.
How I understand. So, mind precedes all mental states. Buddha did not say that everything is mental because that would be delusion based. You can see a rock. Rock is not a construct of my mind. Rock exists as independent entity, and then there are these animism people. They will say that everything has a mind. So I digress from that. Like a crude logic, there is some understanding in those contexts as well. But how they are talking about like that a rock has a mind, so that is bullshit, I would say. So in this, Buddha has said that mind precedes all mental states. All mental states, everything is not mind, but we understand everything through mind. That's our state, that's our situation as a human being. We apply mind to understand things, perceive things, experience things. Mind is their chief. They are all mind wrought. Mind explains all those things to us, like in a way construct of mind, if you say, because we don't understand rock, how rock exists. We understand rock through our mind. Rock
Right.
has an independent existence and we understand it through mind. So this is the difference. They are saying that everything has a mind and everything is mental. That is bullshit. That does not make any sense,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
With an impure mind. Now this is a little bit different, something else. Impure used to be something else in Hindi or Pali in this case, and that those words had different meaning in older times. So that's why people think that purity, impurity, they make it about all that stuff. They used to be very different language, Pali, and even in Pali, those things meant very different. How we interpreted those things in Hindi in today's time. Pali was a natural language, Pali Prakritic. So those words had very different understanding. Like you talked about Latin, you will use shorter sentence, but in Pali you used very descriptive version of those things that you would understand through your natural. In a way, there is a natural wisdom understanding in all the beings. So you used to invoke those. Right now we invoke some logic, rational, this and that. In older time there was something else, that could be studied through Vijnana, ancient Indian sciences. So those things are lost in today's time or exist in a very uh, like they still exist, but people cannot interpret them how they used to be. Yeah.
With an impure mind. So I don't know the Pali word because I'm reading this in English, but I'm assuming that this bhikkhu, like this monk, translated it as the best translation in
Yeah.
English. But impure may not be a value judgment, but it's more like just unclear, perhaps. I
See,
have
what
no
happens
idea.
is
In linguistics, we
a
call
few
this the
years ago,
substrate.
a few years ago, people used to speak in these terms. So what happens is a language that the Buddha spoke some word in his time. He did not like he tried as much as he could to make these things relevant and timeless, but still things changes. If I'm saying something today, I would not think about 100, 205 in 100 years ahead. Or would I? I would say things how people understand in today's time, how they relate with those things, right? I would, if I were some Buddha, so I will try my best to keep things very clear. To like, I can use any language, but you will only understand that language if there is a common rule for that.
Correct.
So
This is
Buddha
the
spoke
substrate, or
this.
yeah,
Yeah,
context. Yeah.
yeah. So Buddha used these things because one perceives certain things. If I perceive something, it is not in words, it is not in language, it is not in grammar.
Right. The word is a
right? So
tool
I
to
use it.
express an idea in the mind.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why these things are in those terms impure. A few years ago, 100 years, some years, even Christians were using these terms. Even the general public were using these things: pure spirit and pure spirit, this and that. So that was the period of time. And today's time, people attack all these things because there's a lot of misunderstanding in all these things, right?
Right.
Yeah. So this is the difference I wanted to talk about in terms of Hermes and this hermetic principles. Second thing, I have studied this hermetic seal. I've talked about this thing with you in the past as well. So there's something called hermetic. If anything that is hermetic, that is never natural, that is never like organic. Hermetic seal works by blocking, like usually hermetic seals are used for in these terms of bank or something, encryption, something that cannot be accessed by common people. And
Mm.
this thing exists in a natural way. People would think that this is natural because the first thing about this hermetic seal is illusion, like maya illusion,
Yeah.
to keep people believing it is something, but it is very different. And then what they do is they use unnatural things to block all the entries. It is not one coherent process. They are using different process from different places, and they are blocking all those things because naturally there exists no system. They exist, if you have studied thermodynamics, they are closed systems, they are open system. So in practicality, there's no perfect closed system. The energy always leaks,
Right.
right?
Yeah. There
So
is no closed system. It.
in nature, there's nothing perfect. Even you see the ice, snow, that snowfall, what do you call it? Specks, snow specks.
Yeah. Snowflakes.
They are not perfectly snowflakes,
Mhm.
snowflakes. Yeah, they are not properly created. Like they don't have perfect symmetry, perfect geometry, right?
Mhm.
So nothing is perfect in this universe. If you talk about something perfect or thrice greatest, tried great, it is always man-made, either unnatural, and this is always will be how do you say it, ingrained, like mixed. I cannot recall an English
Say it
word
one
to
more
express.
time.
Like anything, if people talk in terms of perfection
Mhm.
or greatness or this and that, that is not natural.
No.
The nature of this universe is imperfect,
It's a blanket statement,
impermanent.
and it's a projection and probably a value judgment too.
Yeah, nothing is perfect in this universe, and the nature of this universe is not perfect, not perfection. Imperfection is the nature of this universe. Anybody says that this thing is perfect, this thing is greatest, and this is natural, slap that person, because that person is lying.
Yeah.
So there was, if there existed any Hermes and he was thrice greatest, so he was thrice fooling people. Because
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to test this
Well,
principle,
that's what
go
mentalism
anywhere.
is. It's fooling people.
Yeah, and Western people, they're falling for this delusion, because it is easier for the people to fall for a story, for delusion that is that they can relate with, that they expect, aspire, right?
Mhm.
But it is very difficult for people to accept things in their true nature, because that does not give them any, like, this dopamine hit. Right?
Cheap dopamine
If you
hits
talk in
are
terms,
the way of the world right now, and it's depressing.
yeah, people don't want to accept the limitations and narcissism and all these egotism and all these things, they are affecting people because they don't want to accept the reality. If you accept the reality as is, reality actually uh, keep a few things intact. If you remove those things, your mind goes into these cycles of madness and insanity. Like if I keep on giving you something that you cannot, like Buddha talked about four noble truths. He wanted people to accept those truths because this is what reduces your suffering. Just imagine if you are immortal and you can live millions and billions of years. So these things will repeat so much that you will become frustrated or you will grow like uninterested, something like that, right?
Right.
So Buddha asked people to accept reality and truth as is so that the suffering will be reduced, so that the delusion part will not give them mar. Means mar is beating in a way, but it is also like hurt. So people get hurt out of their own ignorance because they are deluded. They have deluded themselves. They're chasing things that do not exist in reality. In case of uh, desert, there's this thing called mirage. A person is thirsty, he's looking out for water, and the mirage is there and he's running after it. So just imagine how much suffering is that person is going to endure in the pursuit of something that does not exist. So this is the case with all these occultic crap, according to me.
So I don't even know if English has a word for padutena. You know, that's an ancient word.
Padutana.
Padutena.
I cannot see it properly. Can you make it a
Um,
lot
yeah, I'll
bigger?
try to make it bigger. Or, um, yeah. Um, let me
Control plus, control
control
key plus.
plus. All right. Sorry. All right. So let me just go up. So this has the transliteration
Mhm.
Manasache Padutena. Also, English letters don't correspond to the actual sound, but that's the word from
This is
Basati
Pali.
Bakarotiba. Yeah, speaks or does, but Padutena, or however it's pronounced, that's the word that was translated as impure. And it does give a word for word. It means, so here it's translated as corrupted, but that's a corrupted mind causes
Yeah,
suffering when someone speaks or acts with a corrupted mind or
yeah.
or impure. Yeah.
A person, a mind that is not in its integrity. What was the term of opposite of integrity? Corruption in English. That
Well,
somebody
that
does
is
not,
like moral integrity. The opposite is corruption. Yeah, or even
not moral.
out of
What
or
is the
not.
term?
Integrity
Something
could
gets
mean
corrupted.
honesty or together. Fragmented.
Something becomes corrupted when there are elements that does not belong there.
Correct.
I will become corrupted when I lose my integrity. If there's some external object that enters in my field, I'm corrupted. Corruption is bastardized a lot. The corruption literally means something external
Right.
out of the system that entered and invading my space. That is like what you call this thing, corruption.
Corruption. Like
If
when a
you,
file is corrupted, the thing's not together. It's
that is a little bit different in terms of computer software or
in
operating
in
systems,
humans
but
corruption is like
integrity, if
character
there's,
or
yeah,
something's not right.
yeah, because one is not uh, behaving in their own integral nature. What is your integral nature? That is integrity. What you mean is what you say is what you behave. That is integrity. But you are behaving in a different way, influenced by something else. Like, for example, I am Boza. Dragon, right?
Yeah, you're a human.
Dragon,
Be a
dragon.
human.
And then I will start telling you, talking about morality and ethics, right?
Yeah,
And people are deluded. I would say people are deluded. So is it corrupted or is it in his integrity?
by nature it's corrupted because the idea that
Yeah, either
symbolisms
he is a dragon.
correspond or he's right. It's tautology. Either he's a dragon or he's not. Right.
Yeah,
So now which is he? And then by trying to extrapolate from this, it makes
Hmm.
no sense. It's a
Yeah.
projection, mental projection. It's also,
Hmm.
and it comes from the ego. Ahankara. I'm gonna make this
From the
mine. I'm gonna make this mine. This is me. That's me.
yeah,
I'm a dragon.
he's using everything as a supply, and people who do not understand any of these principles, any of this thing properly, they think that Boza has grown wings one day, he became dragon one day, other day he's Hermes, other day he's even better than Buddha, or he is
A wolf.
scientist sometimes, he's a computer operator sometimes, he's a Christian pastor sometimes, he's a rabbi sometimes, he's everywhere, he's all over the place. But what is he truly trying to do is, there's a baby, there's a child, and child want to say that I want to become a pilot. Other day he will say I want to become a scientist. Other day I want to become a musician. And like, if you're not in your integrity, every process that you do in life that requires some energy, that requires efforts, how do you become a dragon this and that one day? And like, what is your process? How are you running so many splits? What is your process? How are you maintaining these things? So
Right.
this is bullshit. They
Yeah.
are using some deception in between,
But the
right?
the problem
So
is when people don't think critically and don't use logic, you can put
yeah,
yourself in a suggestive state, and this is how hypnotism works. If you do enough
yeah, exactly.
damage with somebody, you can make them think that they're on fire and they're going to run to find some water. Like, it's the mind is powerful. Like it says here, mind precedes all mental states. So if you let
Mm,
somebody lie to you, you get yourself in a suggestive state, and
yeah.
that's how mentalism works. This is brainwashing.
Yeah, this is the issue. This is the problem. Then these people will tell you that somebody, some ancient one, this and that, they are messing with us. They're doing this to us. I will use one more example. Like, for example, today, if you go to school or anywhere, let's use a neutral example. If today you are building a two-bedroom house and you started building it from the scratch, and after 5 months, 10 months, however long it is going to take you, and you are just building this two bedroom house, but toward the end you are going to say that I have built a high rise building. So is it possible? The process is not there.
Right.
Just give me a second, I need to take this.
Sure.
Can you pause this thing a bit?
You might want to,
Or
yeah, I'll pause it.